December 18th is a day movie lovers have been anticipating. On that date, a very special movie will at last grace the silver screen. The film is part of a world-famous franchise that multiple generations have watched and loved. The characters have inspired many, and the story has shaped a generation. There are two other nationwide releases competing against this juggernaut during the December 18th opening: the comedy Sisters, and an earnest entry from another franchise, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. What, you thought I was talking about Star Wars this whole time? Nah, this is a pre-review for none other than Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. As most people know, Star Wars is a force not to be reckoned with. No pun intended. Disney unveiled a hurricane-strength advertising campaign for the 7th installment of the saga this year, firmly implanting the images and characters in the collective conscience via clothes, toys, books, cereals, and pet costumes to guarantee blockbuster ticket sales. Even without the advertising campaign, the flick is sure to net one of, if not the, biggest movie openings ever. And maybe Avatar will finally be overthrown as box office champ. Which makes you wonder why something like Road Chip would stand up against the behemoth. Road Chip's original release date had been earmarked for December 23, 2015, but as recent as October 14th, the date had been moved up to December 18th. Perhaps Fox, knowing that Star Wars showings will sell out quickly, is hoping that families will stay behind for Road Chip as a consolation prize. Now, I could be wrong, but I think if someone goes to the theater for Star Wars and it's sold out, they'll probably leave and return for the next showtime. They'd be so intent on seeing it that Road Chip wouldn't even register as a second option for them. I mean, come on. The Force Awakens or the Road Chip? Which one do you think will be the draw for that weekend? Recently, Fox said they wanted to take advantage of the school vacation on Monday, December 21st, and Tuesday, December 22nd, and that was why the opening is now on the 18th. But guess what other movie will be taking advantage of those days too? You guessed it. The arguments that Road Chip will be a family-friendlier alternative to the PG-13 Force Awakens doesn't hold much weight. Disney has made a film that caters to folks of all ages, including children. Just to have an idea of how big this advertising campaign is, there are Star Wars clothes for babies. Children were clearly one of the key demographics for The Force Awakens. The PG-13 rating is in place for sci-fi action violence, according to the MPAA. Disney is an enormous entity, and they won't risk putting out products that will alienate half of the intended audience. They're masters at making family films, with a good balance of lighthearted moments and action. Sure, Star Wars might scare some kids, but I think most will thoroughly enjoy this adventure. Most kids will want to see Star Wars, and will tell their parents that during the vacation break from school. Which brings me back to Road Chip. The reason I decided to pre-review Road Chip was mainly due to the date change. I had seen the trailer, but didn't have intention of pre-reviewing it. But when I heard news that the date had changed from December 23rd to the 18th, and saw this poster trying to cash in on Star Wars, I withdrew my clemency for it. The franchise of Alvin and the Chipmunks began in 1958, invented by musician and record producer Ross Bagdasarian Sr. when he created a novelty record called The Chipmunk Song, using his sped-up voice for the three titular rodents' vocals. The album reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 Pop Singles chart, sold 4.5 million albums in 7 weeks, won 3 Grammys, and was nominated for Record of the Year in 1959. What had started off as a simple novelty gave rise to a multi-million-dollar franchise that spawned more albums, commercials, a comic book cameo, which anthropomorphized Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, and an animated series on CBS, all within 3 years of the trio's debut. Since then, the group has had 46 albums, a live stage show, 2 animated series, one that ran 8 seasons on Saturday morning NBC and introduced the Chipettes, and a current CGI series on Nickelodeon, had a cameo in an anti-drug television special, starred in a direct-to-video film with puppets, a television Christmas show, direct-to-video Universal releases, video games, and 1987's The Chipmunk Adventure, a film that included the talents of animation guru Glenn Keane. In 2007, Fox unveiled the first live-action/CGI hybrid movie showcasing the critters' rise to fame. The $60 million budget movie secured a number 2 slot its opening weekends and made $361 million worldwide. The sequel, Squeakquel, made $48 million on its opening weekends and earns $443 million in total, proving to be the most successful film in the series. Chipwrecked only got $343 million worldwide. The 3 films were mostly panned by critics, citing that the movies were trying to present the characters as relevant to modern-day audiences, with potty humor and pop culture references, but came off as by-the-numbers, low energy, and trying to be hip with the kids, but ultimately falling short. The 3 movies scored low points on Rotten Tomatoes. The original got 27%, the second 21%, and the third a dismal 12%. You'll notice a pattern when comparing the figures. From 27%, it slipped to 21%, a 6% change. It then fell to 12%, a 9% difference. The tally keeps diminishing by 3%, with a 6 and 9 point drop between Squeakquel and Chipwrecked. If that precedent continues, Road Chip will be 12 points lower than Chipwreck's 12%. 12 minus 12 is, well, you know. The film was first announced by Fox in June 2013, with a projected release date of December 11, 2015. On December 18, 2014, Walt Becker signed on as director, and it was revealed that the release date had been pushed out to December 23, 2015. Principal photography began March 16th of this year and wrapped up on May 20th. Road Chip's premise is a familiar one. The boys think Dave will abandon them once he proposes to his girlfriend Samantha in Miami. Teaming up with Samantha's bratty son Miles, they all work together to travel to Miami in order to stop the proposal. I'm already guessing that the Chipmunks and Miles will cast aside their differences and become good friends by the time they reach the destination. With that roadblock out of the way, Dave will tell the Chipmunks that he'll never abandon them. With the misunderstanding cleared up, he'll marry Samantha for that happily ever after. The franchise of the Chipmunks as a whole is very good. Countless people grew up watching the characters, and they've been a part of mainstream entertainment for nearly 60 years. The live-action movies, however, instead of adding to the charm, serves as a direct opposite, simultaneously trying to be edgy but sticking to safe writing. The focus and substantiality is lost. The plots are cliché-heavy rhetoric. Evil record company takes advantage of young singers, fish out of water antics in a high school, and getting stuck on an island where everyone has to work together. The third is a variation of Road Chip's plot, in that the Chipmunks and the potential brother-in-law Miles must work together to achieve the desired goal. The villain this time around is a dogged air marshal determined to pursue the rodents, and the boys fight back with slapstick and shtick. From the trailers, it looks like the filmmakers have opted to make this installment the loudest one to date. Will filmgoers and critics enjoy the newest entry in the series? Based on reviews for the 3 previous movies, no. Like the initial concept for the characters, the live-action flicks were a novelty. The first movie took people by nostalgic surprise. Audiences returned for the second, but were leery of the third. The movies have all but exhausted most of the adult fan base, and probably only very, very young kids will appreciate Road Trip. Will it make money? Surprisingly, yes. The three films have made over $1 billion in total, even with abysmal ratings. How is that even possible? I suppose it boils down to kids wanting to view them multiple times. Even so, Road Trip will likely make even less than Chipwrecked. Did there need to be another Chipmunks movie? The original came out in 2007, Squeakquel in 2009, and Chipwrecked in 2011. If Road Trip had continued the every other year release and showed up in 2013, it could have seamlessly slid into people's viewing lists for 2013 because, hey, it had been established that a Chipmunks movie would land in theaters every other year. With the 4-year hiatus, people have likely taken a step back and can now see with clear eyes that the movies are huge servings of sugar-laden, empty-calorie cinema, and they may think twice about shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars on the singing forest critters. The presence of Star Wars will cause people to forget about the Chipmunks quickly, too. The Force Awakens is the most anticipated movie in 2015. AMC stated that it sold out 1,000 showings in 12 hours, and advance tickets sold 4 times greater than Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. While the Force Awakens trailer had 68 million views in 1 month, Road Trip's trailer had only 1 million views in 5 months. The high energy promoting Force Awakens has already ensured it will achieve the #1 spot at the box office for weeks. Alvin and the Chipmunks is a franchise that's here to stay, no doubt. Being such well-known characters, though, they deserve better films to represent them and the Chipmunk legacy. Kids' movies can be clever, and don't have to be paint-by-numbers formulas that rely on crude humor and obnoxious dialogue. If the Chipmunks star in a 5th movie, which is 98% guaranteed to happen, hopefully it'll have a bit more dignity for these time-honored characters. In the meantime, we'll have to contend with Pizza Toots. And the next pre-review is... Why do they do this? Someone's got a gripe about it, and that someone is Marplotic.